started off as an animator in Ireland, in Dublin, for 2.5 years for Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, working on like Powerpuff Girls and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, things like that, shows like that. But I always wanted to draw comics, so I used to go into my local store in Dublin, and the owner of the store wanted to write comics, and he didn't have an artist, so he knew that I used to like to draw pictures. So one day when I was getting my order that Wednesday or Thursday, my weekly comics, he was like, "You like to draw?" And I was like, yeah. He goes, "Would you like to draw comics?" And I was like, "Yeah, sign me up." So that was like 12 years ago. I did Irish comics for 2 years on a comic book called Freak Show. Declan might have mentioned he took over Freak Show from me. That was his first job. And I went to IDW in 2006. Chris Ryle saw Freak Show and emailed me and asked me did I want to do American comics, and I was like, yeah. So CSI was my first one in 2006, my favorite. And ever since then it's been downhill. CSI, The Mummy, A-Team, lots of Angel, Spike, and other ones I can't remember. Lots, like 5 years, 6 years.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, mostly. Depends. If you're a fan of the show, then yeah. But if it was a show you weren't a fan of, not so much. Like Angel, I asked them for a year if I could do it, because everybody wanted to do it because Joss Whedon was writing it. So it took me a year to get Angel, and then I did it for like 3 years. So that was my favorite one. But yeah, I like them all. They're great people to work for. But because for a long time I wanted to do my own comic, but I didn't have any confidence about writing. I was kind of scared. But because I had done IDW for like 6 years at that point, and Chris Ryle was like a friend, like a mate, he encouraged me. And he was like, "Just do it with us. It'll be great." Like, so I already kind of had half the work done. You know, it was just like, here you go. So it was too handy. So there was no reason not to do it. And he said he writes, so he looked over the script, and he had a few suggestions and pointers. And then all the other Irish guys were pretty good friends. So I sent the script to all of the other guys, like Will Sliney, Declan Shalvey, Nick Roach, and they all looked through it and told me what they liked, what they didn't like, and we're all very harsh on each other, and like we're very mean to each other. So like they were like, "No, this is okay, this is bad, this is good." So it was very, very valuable. And then because I got on so well with the IDW guys, it was not easy, but no problems. Like it's grand. They liked it. They liked the name a lot. They liked the idea, and it just happened pretty organically, I guess. Yeah, pretty lucky, you know. So hopefully it continues. Chancer. Do you know what a chancer is? In Ireland, a chancer is like just trying your luck all the time and hoping it works out. That's me in comics. When I was a kid, just like in the 80s and the 90s, like watching like westerns or Bonanza or Indiana Jones or like any of those Saturday afternoon whatever is on, kind of, rubbish. I love all that stuff. So I just kind of took everything that I liked and kind of like just mushed it together. But then the trick was like I have to make it feel like I knew what this was going. I had a storyline. So the trick was having a narrative that was coherent and interesting, from all this like ninjas and femme fatales, secret agents, Indiana Jones type, Irish guy, World War II, dinosaurs. So it's like just to like get a wall, and I threw everything against it basically, and that's what came out. So yeah, but I make it sound a bit silly, but I took a long time making sure everything worked and that the storyline was okay. Yeah, but it's like real wish fulfillment, like everything I love in one comic. So even though I'm doing like DC stuff, like drawing Batman and Catwoman and all these great characters now, it's still like in my mind I'm like, okay, when can I go back and draw Half Past Danger? So I definitely love it, you know.
So it's going back?
Yeah, definitely next year. I've just finished writing Half Past Danger 2, and that'll be next year, and then 2 years later will be Half Past Danger 3, and that's it. When I thought of it initially, it was 3 parts, 6 issues, 6 issues, 6 issues, so 18. And I came to IDW and I was like, okay guys, 18 issues, 3 parts. And they're like, whoa, maybe 1 part, and then we'll see. So I was like, okay. So then the first part came out, and it did well. So like, yeah, this is good. So I was like on the phone, so like, so where's part 2? And I was like, oh, okay. So now part 2. So there's like, now they want me to do more, and I want to do more. So the script is with the guys now in Ireland, so they'll tear it apart and rip it to pieces, and I'll rewrite it, and then same thing again. But I need to take a year off to draw, because it doesn't pay as well as like big 2 mainstream. I mean, it makes money, but not compared to like the DC stuff. So it's like, you know, 1 movie for the mainstream and then 1 movie for the, you know, for the art house. I'm like the Steve Buscemi of comics. So next year, yeah, I can't wait. They're really nice guys. They're all really nice guys. I was very nervous. In New York, there's like at the Comic Con, the big NYCC. I went to the Comic Con and I got invited to this. Like there was a Grayson drinks in the pub. Like Mark Doyle, the head editor, Seeley, King, me, Mikael, and anyone involved in Grayson. And I went to that and it was great. But then they said, okay, there's the Batman dinner is on now with like everybody, like Snyder, Capullo, Jim, like everybody. And I was like, oh, okay. But they brought me along and it was great. And everybody treated me like I was like, but they were just chatting away to me and just talking and like telling me storylines that are next year or 2 years. So I knew they must think I might still be around in the future, because they were telling me what's going to happen with Grayson and Nightwing and everything. So I was like, okay, this is good. So and now I'm doing Midnighter soon, so which is in the same. It's a spin-off from Grayson, and my issues, Dick Grayson will be in my issues. So it's kind of like it's all in the same universe. So I'm really happy with that. Yeah. Usually commentaries, film commentaries, or scores, film scores. No lyrics. Because I just start singing along and I can't concentrate. I'm very easily distracted. So nothing with words, but unless it's talking, commentary, film commentaries. Some podcasts. A lot of the time, nothing. Just silence. Writing, nothing. Because I find that you have to concentrate a lot more. With drawing now, it's once the layouts are done, the thumbnails, it's quite straightforward and not too complicated, but with the writing I find it very difficult, so I have to really concentrate. Some people will put a show, like you've got your drawing board here and your monitor of your computer here, and they'll have like, I don't know, Breaking Bad or whatever on the screen, and they're kind of like one eye on this and one eye on their drawing, but I can't do that at all. Like, I find that incredibly distracting. So probably less than some other people maybe. Who would I be?
Yes. Could be a villain, could be a superhero, could be whoever you want.
Can I be Indiana Jones? Or Catwoman?
Can you expand?
I like the action adventure type characters. Declan was probably like like a very soulful answer, because he's got emotions and feelings, but I don't go in for that. My favorite DC character is Nightwing. So Dick Grayson, probably, because he's rich and he's not tortured like Batman. So like he doesn't have that whole angst thing going on. That's a lot of work. I love Selena Kyle. I don't know if I'd want to be Selena Kyle. But yeah, Indiana Jones. I mean, even in real life, I want to be Indiana Jones. I just, just the action adventure stuff you would never do in real life. My favorite characters now are more and more old serial characters, like Doc Samson, the Flash, like Indy. I mean, that kind of 1940s stuff. The comic book characters. When I was a kid, I just want to be Batman. Or Leonardo from the Turtles. Not so much anymore. Who did Declan want to be?
Oh, he wanted to be Groot.
Groot? Oh, what a dope. He's a lot like Groot, though. He's like the big guy in the back who just grunts every time again. And a lot of things grow out of him. So, so he's pretty stinky. But yeah, not Groot.